Right now, inside your body, there is a system quietly at work that for centuries was almost completely misunderstood. For a long time, the large intestine was described as little more than a waste disposal tube, a biological exit route where the remains of digestion were simply expelled. But modern science has revealed a very different reality, one that is far more complex, dynamic, and essential for life than previously imagined. Hidden deep within the abdomen, the large intestine is not an endpoint. It is a highly organized and functionally sophisticated organ system that plays multiple roles in maintaining internal balance, metabolism, and overall health. What once seemed like a simple structure is now understood as a central hub of biological activity. The large intestine, also known as the colon, begins at the junction with the small intestine. This transition point is marked by the cecum, a pouch-like structure that acts as the first chamber of the colon. From here, the intestine continues through its distinct anatomical regions. The ascending colon, which travels upward on the right side of the abdomen. The transverse colon, which crosses the body horizontally. The descending colon, which moves downward on the left side. And finally, the sigmoid colon, a curved segment that connects to the rectum. This segmented architecture is not random. Each region contributes to a coordinated process of absorption, transport, and microbial interaction. The internal surface of the colon is not smooth, but highly folded, increasing surface area and maximizing efficiency in fluid and electrolyte recovery. One of the most fundamental roles of the large intestine is the absorption of water and electrolytes. Every day, approximately 1 to 2 liters of fluid enter the colon from the small intestine. The colon carefully extracts water, sodium, potassium, chloride, and other electrolytes, ensuring that the body maintains proper hydration and chemical balance. Without this process, even small disruptions would quickly lead to dehydration and systemic instability. As water is absorbed, the remaining material gradually becomes more solid, forming stool that will eventually be eliminated. But this transformation is not merely mechanical. It is deeply biological, influenced by both the intestinal lining and the vast microbial communities that inhabit this region. Inside the large intestine exists one of the most densely populated ecosystems on Earth, the gut microbiota. Trillions of microorganisms, including bacteria, archaea, viruses, and fungi, coexist in a finely balanced environment. Far from being passive passengers, these microbes actively participate in digestion, metabolism, immune regulation, and even communication with distant organs. Many of the nutrients that reach the colon are not digestible by human enzymes. Dietary fibers and complex carbohydrates pass through the small intestine largely intact. In the colon, however, gut bacteria ferment these compounds and convert them into biologically active molecules. Among the most important of these are short-chain fatty acids. Short-chain fatty acids such as acetate, propionate, and butyrate are not waste products. They are essential signaling molecules that influence the physiology of the entire body. Butyrate serves as the primary energy source for colonocytes, the cells lining the intestinal wall, helping maintain the integrity of the gut barrier and supporting local immune defenses. Propionate travels to the liver, where it plays a role in regulating glucose production and metabolic pathways. Acetate enters the bloodstream and becomes available to multiple tissues as an energy substrate and signaling compound. Through these mechanisms, the microbiota of the colon directly influences energy balance, inflammation, and metabolic health. The large intestine is therefore not only a digestive organ, but also a metabolic interface between diet and physiology. Even more remarkable is the role of the gut in communication with the brain. The gut-brain axis is a complex bidirectional system that links the enteric environment with the central nervous system. This communication occurs through neural pathways, immune signals, and chemical messengers that constantly travel between the gut and the brain. A key component of this system is the vagus nerve, which acts as a direct communication highway between the intestine and the brainstem. Through this pathway, signals originating in the gut can influence mood, stress responses, cognitive function, and even behavioral patterns. In fact, a significant proportion of serotonin, a neurotransmitter associated with mood regulation, is produced in the gut rather than the brain. This highlights how deeply intestinal activity can influence mental states, blurring the traditional boundary between digestive physiology and neuroscience. Beyond neural communication, the gut microbiota also participates in endocrine-like functions. By producing and modulating signaling molecules, microbial communities in the colon can influence appetite regulation, insulin sensitivity, and blood glucose control. This positions the large intestine as an indirect but powerful regulator of metabolic homeostasis, with implications for conditions such as obesity and type 2 diabetes. The large intestine is not only a chemical and microbial system, but also a highly coordinated mechanical one. Its movements are governed by peristalsis, rhythmic wave-like contractions of smooth muscle that propel intestinal contents forward. These coordinated contractions ensure that material is mixed, processed, and moved efficiently through the colon toward elimination. Peristalsis is not random. It is regulated by the enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain, which contains millions of neurons embedded within the intestinal wall. This system can function independently of the central nervous system, coordinating local reflexes that control motility, secretion, and blood flow. Even structures once thought to be functionless are now understood in a new light. The appendix, long dismissed as a vestigial remnant of evolution, appears to serve as a reservoir for beneficial gut bacteria. In times of severe intestinal disturbance, such as infection or antibiotic-induced disruption, the appendix may help repopulate the colon and restore microbial balance. This suggests that even small anatomical structures can contribute to long-term resilience of the intestinal ecosystem. When all of these functions are considered together, the large intestine emerges as far more than a simple segment of the digestive tract. It is a multifunctional biological system integrating fluid regulation, microbial ecology, immune modulation, metabolic signaling, and neural communication. It processes nutrients that the human body alone cannot handle. It maintains chemical stability through constant absorption and secretion. It hosts an entire ecosystem that actively shapes metabolism and immunity. And it communicates continuously with the brain and other organs, influencing both physical and mental health. At this very moment, within your own body, trillions of microorganisms are breaking down complex fibers, producing signaling molecules, interacting with immune cells, and contributing to the chemical environment that helps regulate your physiology. Meanwhile, the intestinal wall is constantly absorbing water and electrolytes, maintaining balance with every passing second. Neural networks embedded in the gut are coordinating movement and transport. Hormonal and metabolic signals are being exchanged between organs in real time. All of this occurs inside an organ that was once dismissed as biologically simple. The truth is very different. The large intestine is not the end of digestion. It is a highly active regulatory ecosystem, a microbial universe, and one of the most important interfaces between the outside world and the internal stability of the human body.